on this episode of My Last Two Brain Cells.
Yeah, because if your only dopamine hit is when like you get a cha-ching, then like everything else is just meaningless.
Which the cha-chings do give dopamine
They're
hits.
nice.
But you need other dopamine hits. The cha-chings aren't enough.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to
My Last Two Brain Cells.
I'm your host, Maddie Morris.
And I'm also your host, Elliot Morris.
And if we look a little bit different
If we look
today,
comfy cozy,
if we look like two snuggo buggos in a ruggo.
if you're just listening and we sound comfy cozy, that is because we are.
At our house. We're at home. We thought it would be really cute and fun to bring the entire podcast setup to our house. So
Yeah.
we're
Also, we
we're
just
literally
didn't feel
sorry.
like doing it in the studios this time.
Yeah, per. So
And we're
just,
like, let's just bring the camera home.
so we're just hanging out at
So we
our
brought the camera home. We're on the couch. The sound probably won't be quite as good. It's probably a little echoey, but
That's totally fine.
that's all right.
But
It's all
today
good.
is an episode that I know you guys probably thought you would never hear from us because we are kind of like the anti-mindset gurus.
I think mindset's a little woo-woo most of the time. I think it's a little woo.
I know
I don't know.
I know we
don't know
always
about it.
we're more like of a practical podcast, and we
Yes.
typically talk about how mindset is kind of cringe.
Like,
but and well, a lot of people mindset isn't cringe. You should
But we're selling out.
no.
Join our mindset mastermind.
No, absolutely not. No, I think a lot of people confuse like practical business advice and mindset, and the two are completely different things. But
They're very different, but I think there is a time and place for mindset.
absolutely, and like your mindset really does play a role in the operation of your business.
Yeah,
And
your
so-
mindset, it has to be good. It's
Absolutely,
got to be good.
Absolutely, but it's not everything because a
Yeah.
lot of things are just like
You
putting the pedal to the metal.
yeah, you don't like automatically succeed if you have a good mindset.
Yeah.
Like you also have to like run a good business.
Yeah, and it's so funny because a lot of people in my DMs all the time are like, "How do you, have a good mindset? How do you stay motivated? I'm so overwhelmed." I'm like,
Girl.
I don't all the time. Like
True.
there have been seasons of my business where I've been depressed for a year straight, but I keep going. So I want to talk about some of your most commonly asked questions. I did a Q&A on my stories a week ago, and these were the top 5 questions that you guys have. And I want to dive deep into them because it is really, really hard being a business owner and being in the beauty industry combined if you are struggling with your internal dialogue. Facts, Elliot.
No cap.
No cap. Okay, so number 1, people ask how to find the motivation to keep going when business gets hard, when you have, slow seasons, when you just don't feel like lashing, when your back hurts, when you've had long days, when you don't have weekends. How do you find the motivation to keep going?
When the going gets tough, you know what they say.
The baddies get going, girl.
The baddies get going.
What's your best advice? How do you find the motivation to keep going?
How do I find the motivation? I think having something that you're working towards that you're very passionate about is like the most helpful thing that I found is when things are like really tough and they suck and you're like, I have so much work to do and this is like so annoying and
Because we get like that sometimes.
Yeah, we get this.
Like our stack, our to-do list is a mile long every day.
Yeah, it's a lot. But having something that you're looking at that you're like, okay, but if I do all this, then I am accomplishing this thing that I'm really passionate about. And
I have a purpose that's so much bigger.
then it's like, it doesn't feel that bad because it's like, oh, this is just like what you got to do in order to get where you're going. And I think the other thing, like another side of that coin is kind of trying to fall in love with the process and really enjoying the process of building. And I think that's kind of where I've gotten to in the last probably year or so is I have kind of realized that the thing that I get the most joy out of is the building. And so obviously there's some parts of like building things and like growing the business and working on the business that suck. Absolutely. But seeing like progress day after day and like working on things to push the business forward truly do give me like a lot of joy. And I really enjoy that. And that's what keeps me going.
I think we used to be so obsessed with the destination
Yeah.
and especially like doing, I think, the build out.
Yeah,
Like
that is true. That is true.
we used to be very obsessed with the destination of like where we're going and everything. But oh wait, we should like look at each other.
Hello.
No, just like sit over there.
Oh, well,
like
no, but we both got to be in the camera.
Okay, well okay.
We can look at each other.
I just like looking
We
at
can
you.
look at each other. That's okay.
Easy on the eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I think a lot of the time we were so focused on the destination and our eyes were always on the prize. And so that made the journey so dreadful because we were just like, oh my gosh,
it'll all be worth it in the end.
It'll all be worth it in the end, which is true. But also, once we did the build out, we almost missed that process when we were like, okay, when are we going to do the next one? When are we going to do the next one? Because we kind of fell in love with the process.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? It's
like a puzzle.
I forget who said it first, but I heard this really good quote, and someone said the person who loves running will run far longer than the person who loves winning. And it's like, I might have butchered the quote, but basically the gist of it is if you fall in love with running, you're going to go way farther than if you're just trying to get somewhere.
So rather than making your destination, like I am going to take over the lash industry and do all this stuff. Have you actually fallen in love with lashing yet?
Yeah.
And if you haven't, start there.
That's step one.
Because I keep going mainly because I've fallen in love with the entire process, even when it is difficult. Yeah. And boy, oh boy, are there difficult days.
Yeah. If you're trying to, and if you're like past, just lashing, if you're like trying to build something else, like you're trying to start salon suites or start a product, like if you're trying to start a product, are you in love with the like process of making products better?
Or is it,
or if you're doing salon suites, are you in love with like giving artists a home to work out of that like is better than anything else they could get? Like then you're going to have so much better of an outcome if you're just doing it for the check.
Yeah. Because if your only dopamine hit is when like you get a cha-ching, then like everything else is just meaningless.
Which the cha-chings do give dopamine
They're
hits.
nice.
But you need other dopamine hits. The cha-chings aren't enough.
1,000,000%. And on the topic of like motivation, how to find motivation to keep going. This is, just age old advice, but discipline is so much more important than motivation because as humans, we're not going to be motivated 100% of the time. We're not even going to be motivated 20% of the time because we have just stupid monkey brains that just want what we want. And we're only really satisfied when we're just like,
facts.
Yeah. Rotting in bed, doing nothing or like on vacation. On vacation, like in a lawn chair, but that's what 1% of your life.
Yeah.
And so
can't live for the weekends.
No. And so discipline is so important and you feel good about yourself when you're disciplined.
Yeah.
You just feel good. You feel accomplished at the end of the day. And all of that adds up and starts to like become such a huge portion of your self-esteem. And so don't wait for motivation to hit. When it hits, that's awesome. Go full turbo. When motivation hits me, I am like,
oh, she goes turbo mode, you guys.
Turbo mode.
Like Madison works and then some nights it's probably like once every 1 or 2 weeks. It'll just be 11 p.m. and she's like, I'm going turbo mode, and
I'll rewrite.
The keyboard starts smoking.
Yeah, I'll rewrite my manual. I'll send emails. Yeah. I'll make posts. I'll make.
Girl, she's crazy.
Yeah,
but her baseline is still getting stuff done, and I think that's where the discipline comes.
Yeah,
in.
But I totally honor those times when I'm not motivated, and in times when I'm not motivated and I need to get stuff done, then I just discipline myself and I just do it anyway.
Facts.
Question mark. Number 2.
This feels so chill. I love that our mindset episode is us being like so comfy.
Really is.
It's nice.
We're in our vibes.
Drop a comment below. How do you like the new setup?
Yeah.
Should we keep it or should we go back to the old studio?
We start our episode when we're at home. We should start the episode with hi comfy cozies.
Hi comfy cozy queens.
Comfy cozy queens. Okay, this next question, I don't even know how I'm gonna answer this one because it hits a little close to home this week, y'all.
Oopies.
But question number 2, someone asked, can I find specifically what they asked?
Oh, I thought you were like, can I find specifically?
No, I want to find specifically what this person asked.
It's a good question.
It is a fantastic question. This girl asked, how do you deal with copycats in your area? And how do you deal with people around you copying every single move that you do?
First of all, if people are copying you, that means you're doing a good job.
It's truly the highest form of flattery.
It really is. Like if your business sucked, no one's copying you.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a great job, everyone's gonna copy you.
Yeah. And we don't really gatekeep at Lightheart, just kind of like as a principle. Like, I really like to be very open-handed and open-hearted with everything, especially education. We're an education company, so like if I'm not coming from a place of leadership and education, then like why am I an education company? So when people ask me a question in my DMs, I will respond to it. And people have reached out in my DMs and they're like, who designed your logo? Who did your build out? Who did this? Who did that? I am more than happy to share something if it helps someone else in that way.
Yeah.
And I feel honored that people like trust us enough to mentor them with little things like that. But people finding inspiration from you and plagiarism are two completely different things.
Yeah.
And so if someone finds inspiration from you and maybe like their branding is somewhat similar to yours, right? Or
Same
maybe
vibe.
yeah, like of course if you're doing well, you're going to have someone in your town that like tries to recreate work like yours or like, you know, whatever. And all that is fine and good. I mean, honestly, just take it as flattery. It does kind of suck because you feel like you've created something so cool. And you have to only feel bad for people that don't trust their creativity enough to create something unique of their own. Like they don't trust their self and their intuition enough.
That's the thing.
Everyone is innately creative.
Yeah.
Humans are innately creative. And when people don't trust their own creativity, they have to steal it from someone else's.
Yeah.
And that's sad, you know?
It is sad.
And it only goes so far because they can never create something unique. They'll always be looking and looking and looking for someone.
Yeah.
Now plagiarism is an entirely different thing.
Well, yeah. So okay, so we've had it happen a couple times.
Yeah, like
yesterday. Like yesterday. We may have had someone pop up on our Instagram who had the exact same name and also the exact same logo
and font and colors
and it was not us. And we were like, "Hey, girl, how'd you come up with your logo?" And they were like,
"Just came up with it out of my brain.
Just was thinking about it." And then this is the part about to me that really I thought was hilarious is that
I have a favorite part and you have a favorite part.
My favorite part was that we were like, "Hey, how'd you come up with the logo? It's super good." She's like, "Oh, I just made it in Canva." And then we were like, "Oh, hey, how did you come up with the name?" And she's
I found it in a thesaurus.
"Oh, me and my friends, we were just pulling out the thesaurus like you do." And then she goes and I think maybe she didn't realize who was messaging her at first. And then she looked at Madison's profile and she was like, "Oh, lol, we have like a really similar name. Crazy coincidence."
No, it's almost like we have everything. And I actually looked back and found that she had like my photos and whatever. But anyway, I'm just saying plagiarism and copying are...
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
However,
knock it off.
to this girl's credit, she did immediately change it. She did as soon as we called her out.
I'm giving her a 30-day grace period.
Yeah. And we're saying like, "Hey, please change your name."
Yeah. So what I'm saying, plagiarism, don't do it. Stop.
Don't do
if
it.
you think that you're plagiarizing, stop it. Get some help.
The thing is, if you're a person and you feel called out by this, it's not that we're saying like don't do it from like some moral righteous perspective. It's like it's not gonna help you.
Yeah, it actively won't serve your brand.
Like you coming up with a like mediocre branding by yourself is going to be better for you than stealing a really, really good brand. It's absolutely
because when we came up with Lightheart, nobody in the world had it, but also it was something that like we hadn't seen anyone have a name like that. And so I actually was like, I don't even know if this is a good name. I haven't seen anything like it, but like it grew on us over time as we like it's become our baby, and that's why we're so protective of it. And when you have something that you've created, you become protective of it.
Yeah.
And it is your brand. It is what you created, and it is like the story written in your brand. Really is just like it's like the story of your life if you're a personal brand.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Lightheart literally are two words that came from a song that Elliot wrote for me to propose with. Like it is the most personal brand that I could even think of. And that's why we treat it as a baby. And if you're a brand owner, I very much probably feel that way because it took you so much time and you know, it's a extension of who you are. So when someone takes it, it's really, really hurtful. And I completely understand that. So my best advice with dealing with copycats, people that take inspiration from you, fine.
That's cool.
Fine and good.
If you're doing a good job, that's at least that's going to happen.
It means you're doing a good job. If
people are absolutely like totally jacking your stuff, that's probably also going to happen if you're doing a really good job and your branding's sick.
And in that case, protect it.
Yeah, let them know.
Make an effort to protect it.
And if you're like building a brand that you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, like this is going to be like in multiple states, like I'm going to start selling education or products or something, and you're going to expand it past just you doing lash services, you should trademark your name and
Absolutely. And if you can't trademark it, get a different
name.
Yeah,
if you can't trademark it, that means your name isn't like original enough to be trademarked. You should come up with a name that was original enough to be trademarked. We went through 3 names before we got to one that we could trademark.
1,000,000%. And so it is okay. And like, I always come from such a place of like understanding and love, but when someone just takes something that isn't theirs, it is okay to protect it. And so obviously best, if you have the trademark, you know, send them a cease and desist. I personally didn't. I just waited.
Yeah, we just reached out.
I just
like,
reached
you
out.
can reach out before you send a cease and desist and
It's
say
up
like,
to you.
hey, I'm like reaching out instead of sending you a cease and desist because
Yeah,
like
I felt like it was the kinder thing to do.
it's the nicer thing to do.
But
but there is one thing too. Like
Yeah.
there are gonna be times where you and someone else both like have the same business name.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
accidents do happen.
Yeah, it does. It's not necessarily like plagiarism.
No,
like
accidents happen.
Madison's business name in Alaska was Wildflower Lash.
Yeah,
and
not an original name at all.
not a super original
Just
name.
something pretty I came up
but
with.
But here's
like,
the thing: there wasn't another Wildflower Lash in Alaska. So when Madison was like looking and stuff, she didn't see anything. And then when we were looking,
I made sure there was no other wildflower in the state.
in the area. But then when we were looking at moving down to Arizona, there was a Wildflower Lash in Arizona.
So I just.
And so we were like, you know what? We'll change the name.
I never reached out. I just literally changed
Yeah,
it because cool
we're not
thing
gonna
to do.
move. We're not gonna move here and then be like, hey, girl, looks like we both got the same name. I know, like you were here first, but like we really like the name, so we're gonna
really
keep
try
it.
your best, even if you're a small business, to make sure no one has the name in your state, and I mean not even just an LLC search, a Google search, an Instagram search. Like really make sure
really look for
that
it.
is something that's unique
Look
to your
Instagram,
area. And if you want to be a
everywhere.
worldwide brand, make sure that no one has that name in the world. You can trademark it.
Yeah. Facts.
Hard to do, but that's why good brands are unique, you know?
Yeah. That's why all the like new tech companies have like such weirdly spelled names because they needed something
they needed something unique. Absolutely. And just also, I just want to say, like, what else do I want to say? Honestly, it just threw me for a loop this week. I've been very hurt and upset about it, but
yeah. Names. My philosophy on names is it's finders keepers. If you come up with the name first, it's your name.
It's yours.
It's yours.
Sorry.
I think we said enough about that.
I could talk about this for 2 hours. It's literally like.
Can you tell Madison?
Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm not even kidding. When somebody, I've had it happen twice, but when somebody
happened twice.
takes my name or whatever, it's only happened twice.
And both times resolved totally fine.
Yeah.
The first time I think it was probably an honest mistake.
The first time it was an honest mistake, but the guy ended up just saying.
The first time it was a guy who was starting a business and he started the business. I 100% believe he thought of the name Lightheart
I think it was
on his own.
entirely an accident.
And it was entirely an accident. And then we were building our business the exact same time. Like it was for the coffee shop specifically. He was doing another coffee shop.
Yeah.
And we were both like starting our coffee shops at the same time. And we like both started the Instagrams like really similar times. And it was just a coincidence.
And him and I just had a
and we just talked
conversation,
and we were like, hey, like we have this brand has
Identity,
already been an existing business in like a different industry, and now we're just bringing it into coffee. So like it has been existing, like we already have all this, like all these brand assets. Like if you like, we would like really appreciate it if you would change. And we obviously did some things to like protect ourselves in case he like wasn't cool about it, but he was cool about it, and he was like, you know what, I will change.
Well,
what?
You know, almost a year passed with nothing, no communication, and then he reached out to me. And it was the kindest thing ever. And he just said, moving forward, I feel like it would be the most lighthearted thing to do to let you have the name that's rightfully yours.
So sweet. What a sweetie.
And that made me so happy. And it has, after that experience, which I'm so grateful for him, but like it has really made me so protective of what we built. And I can only imagine other business owners feel the same way. So if you are starting a brand,
and also
you're starting a lash business.
Oh yeah.
What did you say?
Well, also, I think that turned out so well because we didn't come like into the conversation in a very like aggressive or like legalistic way.
Yeah.
We came into the conversation like as people, and we were just like, hey, like you're starting a business, we're starting a business.
We want what's best for you. We want all parties to do well.
We want us both to be successful. Exactly. And we like came to him like in a really like a kind way, you know, and we're like, hey, we're both in this situation. Like,
it sucks for both of us.
Yeah. This is what we would like. This is why we think that you should change your name instead of us changing our name. And then we like just talk to him reasonably. And then that's why it worked out well. So like you have to decide. And then like to contrast, this most recent situation is like, it was very different in that
it was not an accident.
It was not an accident and it wasn't an honest mistake.
No.
And so then we came into it like, hey girl, change your name. Like this is ours.
I came at it a lot more protective because I was so shocked.
Yeah.
So shocked.
Crazy.
Okay. Next question is, next question was, how do you deal with burnout when you're mentally exhausted?
You have a lot more experience with
Girl,
that
that's
than
a
me.
question.
That's a question for you.
That's a question for Big Mama, because I just have a human tendency of burning myself out. And whenever I don't see a full day of clients, are you comfy?
I'm getting so comfy.
Are you comfy cozy enough?
I'm so comfy cozy
We're
right now.
gonna be two snuggle buggles and a ruggo at the end of this.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna
Just watch out. Let me check.
we're just snoring at the end of this episode.
Honk shoe, me, 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 me.
I'm just like taking over this episode. Elliot's taking a nap next to me.
I think we should do every episode like this.
Yeah,
this is great.
This is so chill. So I have the tendency, A, to feel like I'm never doing enough unless I am burning myself out, and 2, oh my gosh, are you legitimately falling asleep right now?
No, I've been yawning this whole episode. That's not new.
My gosh. And then I tend to love to mentally exhaust myself, and a lot of that is,
she does. It's like she does it on purpose.
yeah, and a lot of that is just coming from the fear of like, you know, never doing enough, or like rushing and just feeling like you have to accomplish so much in a day. And I think just as I've gotten older, like I'm not even that old, I'm 25 this week, but like I've just learned that you can't create anything if you are completely burning yourself out. And if you're a creative person and like you're building a business, then if you're taking, 9 clients a day, like I was, burning yourself out, when are you going to run your business? When are you going to be creative? The two have to be completely symbiotic. And then when are you going to take care of yourself? When are you going to see your friends? All of that stuff completely matters just as equally as how much you're building your business. And so for me, it's just, I have to physically schedule in chunks of time that I'm not working to my schedule. Like I physically will put in my calendar chill day or content day or friend day or church or anything like that, because like I care about my schedule when it's packed so much, and I take every appointment so seriously. I also have to take those appointments for my life so seriously. Don't forget to schedule yourself a life in between working.
Yeah.
What do you feel about dealing with burnout? I know you don't really get too burned out.
Yeah, I don't get, well, I mean, so every once in a while I'll go through phases where, be careful, we don't turn off the,
it's
I
good.
make sure it's good. Okay, it's good.
Don't show them my feet.
For free?
Yeah, not for free, baby.
Not for free.
No.
You gotta pay extra for that. You gotta subscribe to the Instagram for that.
How would you deal with burnout when you're just exhausted?
Guys, I sleep a lot. I'm a like 8 hours plus kind of sleeper. Like if I get 8 hours of sleep, I'm like, oh, I wish I was a little more. If I'm like 8.5, 9 hours of sleep, then I'm good. I feel like that's the primary way I deal with it, is I do sleep, I think, more than most people. It helps. It really helps.
You be getting your hours in.
You know who else sleeps a lot? Jeff Bezos. So
Does he really?
I'm in good company.
Does he really?
He does. He does. That's like, people talk about like, how do you get so much done in a day? He's like, well, I prioritize the important things. And then they were like, how much do you sleep? And he's like, oh, I sleep 8.5 to 9 hours a night. And everyone was shocked. And I'm like, you know what? I get that.
You really
I feel
do
that.
take that to heart. And it's so funny. Elliot literally in the morning is a peaceful baby. And I get up, I shower, I get ready, I do my makeup, I do my hair, I get dressed, and I make breakfast, I eat outside. I am like,
that's one of the benefits of only taking 5 minutes to get ready.
And then I come into the bedroom and I wake you up like a little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
What a beautiful life.
Yeah. It's great. It's great to be me.
Oh, good morning. Oh,
he says, oh, good morning, baby. And I say, goo goo gaga.
Stop. Would you shut up? You're cut off. No more talking for 5 minutes for you. Yeah, I think when you're dealing with burnout, number one, cut branches off of your tree. And so for me yeah, truly. For me last year, I was so burnt out because I was doing 10 things on turbo mode.
If you're feeling burnout, it's probably because you're doing too much.
You're probably, well,
TBH.
yeah. Well, yeah. And there's a time and a place for doing too much, because doing too much really got me where I am today. But let me tell you, last year, I figured out, number one, the profit centers of my business and the passion centers of my business, what was profitable and what was I passionate about. And I cut off completely everything else so that I could.
And you know what's crazy? They were the same things.
What do you mean?
The things you were that were profitable and the things you were passionate about.
Isn't that crazy?
Same things.
The things I was passionate about.
It's crazy how that works.
I know, it's amazing. But we trimmed kind of the branches of my business, and we cut off like a lot of things that were making money and that I like doing, but it wasn't the profit center and it wasn't the passion center. So we cut them off, and now I can focus all of my waking energy onto those like 2 things. and it serves me so much better. And I am scheduling actively. I am scheduling in time for my life from now and forever. And I understand that sometimes it is going to have to be, you're going to overwork, you're going to have long days. All that stuff builds your business, but it's not sustainable. So just know if you are in a season of burnout, it's not forever, and have a plan to balance your life going forward. Also, whether that's raising your prices, whether that is hiring, whether that is, like passive income or like whatever that looks like, have that plan.
Also, if you're like lashing full time and if you're in like a season of building your clientele and like trying to fill your books, then keep going, like keep filling them up. But if you're in a position where like your clientele is pretty stable, like your books are pretty full, and you're starting to feel burnout, I would recommend taking a look at your clientele and seeing which ones exhaust you the most.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be some of them. And I guarantee the ones that are the most exhausting aren't the ones that are tipping the best. So
Elliot,
might be time to...
Okay, do not just fire a client because they don't tip you well.
No. That's not what I said. I'm saying fire a client because they exhaust you and because you dread seeing them.
1,000,000%. If you're burnt
it's not
out
worth it.
and you're burnt out because you're taking too many clients.
Yeah.
I mean, raise your prices, take less clients.
Yeah.
Duh.
But get rid of the bad clients first. Get rid of the annoying ones. You don't have to take them. If they're annoying, kick them to the curb.
You're the boss, baby.
Yeah, give them to another artist.
Yeah. Okay. The second to last question is, tell me about how to have a good money mindset, a good relationship with money. And we can both speak to this because we came into not only our business, but we came into our marriage with very different, separate money mindsets.
That is true. We talked about this in therapy.
Yeah, we did. And Elliot and I really aren't like, first of all, we haven't gone to therapy since before we...
No, we did, what was it, 5 weeks?
We did 5
premarital
counseling sessions.
And that's it. And we were good.
TBH.
That was all it took.
TBH, we've been good ever since.
Five premarital counselings is worth like 1,000 postmarital counselings.
Honestly,
that's what I truly believe that.
I loved premarital counseling.
Yeah, it was great.
I honestly recommend it to anyone that's seriously dating.
Yeah, if you're
total side note,
if you're engaged, do it. It's so worth it.
I think that was the best investment of like our wedding was the premarital counseling.
Yeah,
because it was just so valuable to understand each other and how we worked. And we came into it, and I remember our marriage counselor said, like, what problems do you have? And we were like, we have absolutely no problems. We're perfect. We're obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm going to make you some problems, and then we're just going to pretend to fight about them. And so like every week.
No, he didn't make them up. He found them.
Yeah, he just would like.
He found some.
He would like.
He's
pull
like,
things.
yeah, I'll be the judge of that. You don't have any problems? Sure.
Yeah, we were coming out of there throwing hands.
Yeah.
But one of the things we talked about was having a good money mindset. And now, especially, having a business together, that poses a whole new set of challenges, because what if you start a business with someone, whether it's a partner or a friend or
that would be bad.
Or your husband or boyfriend, and you guys have two completely different views on money and abundance and all of that stuff. That's going to really stunt your business. So whoever you do get in partnership with, make sure that you agree on those core values. And so for us, I came into my business, first of all, because my business started out as my business, not ours. Yep. But my business, when I started it out, I had a very poverty mindset.
And guys, you know what? She still feels like it's her business sometimes. Sometimes she'll be like, why are you trying to change up things in my business? And I'm like...
Don't make me sound like the villain.
Guys, Madison is such a villain. No. Help me. Save me. I am trapped. I cannot get out. I cannot escape. She won't let me out of the house, you guys. That's why we're doing the podcast here. Because she won't let me out. Guys, save me.
Okay. I think that Elliot's literally cut off. He's going to his room after this. Oh,
what you guys don't know is that she's serious.
Hey, you can't go play.
You think it's a joke?
Elliot, no. Elliot, you can't go to the movies with Caleb tonight. You're grounded.
No.
Yeah, you're grounded.
Guys, I can't go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Did our microphones turn off or no?
No, I think. Sorry about that. Sorry, babes.
Hey, girly pops, the battery died.
The battery died.
We were talking about money mindset.
Yes. So I think the question was more about, like, personally, how do you have, like, a good mindset about money, right?
Yeah, the girl asked, like, how do you have a good relationship with money?
Okay, yeah. So that's a kind of a different question than what we were asking before. I think we answered a good question of like how to deal with like money in your relationship, but
Yeah.
I think having a good relationship with money comes more down to one.
I think seeing it as a tool.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Are you for real?
No, that is exactly what I was gonna say. I was seeing it like as a tool and not as like the end goal, as like
Yeah.
seeing it as a tool and the natural outcome of doing the right actions
Absolutely.
in your business. Because if you are running your business in a way that you're making smart decisions, then money is a natural outcome of
It's
that.
a side effect.
And I think that is a very, I think thinking about money in that way has been very beneficial to us because it brings us out of a kind of like a scared mentality about money of being like, oh, I don't know if it's going to be here. It's like,
Because my mentality, like when I first started my business, I was very young. And I had like great role models and great mentors and like great people around me and all that stuff. But just personally within myself, I always felt like I had to save. I could never spend. Never. And that was just my own personal belief.
She was like a dragon
that didn't
hoarding
come from
gold.
anywhere. Yeah. I just was so obsessed with saving. And then it got to the point where I wasn't actually reinvesting in my business as much as I needed to grow.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing money as a means to grow my business. And now when I like invest in a lot of money, what am I even talking about? When I invest in like a training, so like I just bought like new graphics for my manuals, or like hiring designers, or hiring like, you know, just paying to make my business better. Now I always see it as that will come back because I am able to serve people better. And it never is like, oh, I'm throwing money into all this stuff. I'm throwing money into trademarking. I'm throwing money into, you know, my branding. To me, nowadays, just because I've grown so much in the last 7 years, is I always think of as like, wow, this is going to come back to me so much more because I'm going to have a better brand, better technique, better skills, better out, like, you know, and I always know that money is just working as a tool to propel the business forward.
And I think that's something that you learn over time too. I think you can't do that right at the beginning because you don't know how to invest effectively into your business. Mm-hmm. And so what I don't want is for everyone listening to like hear this and say, oh, I just need to invest more money into my business. And that's the way that I grow, because if you don't invest in a smart way, then you are just wasting money.
Yeah.
And I think you have to develop the that mindset over time of like knowing, oh, be careful, you're making rustling noises.
Oh, sorry. For the rustling noises.
So, yeah, I apologize. Madison she's new to this.
Yeah.
You have to develop that mindset over time of like understanding what you can invest in and what will get you a return. And that's something that you develop over time that like eventually you'll have like a very, very deep understanding that, oh, if I put money into this, then I will get money out. And that's not something that you should just think automatically at the beginning, because there's no proof of that in your business yet. You need to start building up that proof over time, both for yourself and for it to be, you know, just a responsible decision to invest money in your business. And so if you're like kind of new to investing in your business and like new to, you know, and you're thinking like, okay, what should I invest in? Like start small, like start investing in like maybe invest a little more money than you were planning to in a nicer logo or something, not like a crazy amount.
I think that the best few things to invest in first, if you're like a new lash artist business owner and like you have some savings and you want to reinvest it into your business, top 3 things. Number 1 should be higher quality products. I mean,
first of all,
immediately. Absolutely. I mean, if you are just using the cheapest things you can find, you will notice a significant difference in your client happiness and your technique and your skill if you are using higher quality
and
products.
Your happiness, because it's going to be so much easier to put lashes on.
I was
them.
miserable when I was using crappy products.
It's
miserable. Second thing, and I know people shout this all the time, but invest in quality education over quantity education.
Yeah.
And one of the mistakes I made starting out with my first investments in my business was taking as many lash courses as I could starting out. And
it's not about the quantity.
I ended up just building myself a million bad habits stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
And so I built bad habits, and I had a lot of certificates on the wall, and none of those trainings were like actually like suitable for where I was, because I was someone that had terrible classic experience, and I was taking like level 200 Russian volume trainings.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't applicable to where I was when I couldn't even use pre-mades. I mean, like, you should take courses that are applicable to your skill level that you're able to master. And so like if you've, learned volume, okay, take a mega volume training. If you've learned classic, take an angel set training, take a volume training, but don't take something that is so above your skill level, or that is just the cheapest option, because there are lash trainings you can buy nowadays for $10. I'm not even kidding.
Don't take them.
I have literally seen advertisements on TikTok for $10 lash ebooks and
It's
training.
always on TikTok.
I buy them because I'm looking.
Yeah, we want to know.
Respectfully, I'm looking, and they're
not great.
That's not an investment. That's
No.
just like trying to find the cheapest thing to propel your business forward. And so make sure that you're investing wisely in products and education. And the third thing I think should be your brand.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Great high quality branding.
Absolutely. I think that's great. Invest in yourself, invest in your business, start small, work your way up. Don't dive into like a $500,000 build out as your first thing.
Not on year one.
Maybe
on year 7.
Yeah. And yeah, just,
And one of the things that we always talk to the renters in Lightheart about, because we want everyone within Lightheart to have the same approach to their business and money and all that sort of stuff, is we always talk to people in Lightheart about having what do you always say? Having of abundance.
Oh, a mindset of abundance.
A mindset of abundance.
An abundance mentality.
An abundance mentality. We always talk about the renters with this, and we have a lot of new renters that like take a tour and they ask, well, tell me about competition in the building, and tell me about like, how do you stand out with the other lashers in the building? I'm like, well, that's not how we operate, because every single lash artist or service provider within
working
Lightheart
from a place of abundance.
Yes, and we make sure that they are working from a place of abundance, which in turn doesn't create a culture of competition, because if you're not coming from a place of abundance, you're coming from a place of scarcity.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're always going to feel like there's never enough clients for you. You always have to be,
And there are enough clients.
There are enough.
If you don't think there's enough clients, then that is a sign that that's a sign that you can invest in your like education, in giving a better client experience, in maybe using better products. That's just a sign that there's more for you to invest in.
Yeah.
And there's work for you to do.
And so the people that are in our building, we make sure, and now I won't even rent to anyone that has that mindset, because they're going to have that coming into it, and they're going to have a competitive nature about themselves, and that's not good for the entire environment.
Nah.
So I make sure when I'm renting for people that they are so focused on their own success and their own uniqueness and their own business that they want everyone else to do well.
They want to be
too.
surrounded by people who are doing
They're
well.
a cheerleader, and they want to be and they want to surround themselves with people who are actually doing better than them, to encourage them,
Exactly.
not to take from them. Like some people,
That's what we try to do.
Yeah, like of course, some people will go to a salon suite, and I'm not even kidding. They'll like try to poach other people's clients.
Don't do that.
And it's like,
no, that's
imagine.
So cringe.
I agree, but it's like you should be coming from a place of there's enough for everyone. There's enough clients for me that are suited to my business, and I want everyone in here to succeed at their own thing. That's where you'll find true abundance. And the last question that I got was thoughts on how to stop comparing your own work. I always feel like my work isn't good enough. I get foreign fills and my work doesn't look as good. I'm insecure. How do I beat that?
Oh, so one of the things that I did to stop comparing my lash work to others is I only do.
I'm so curious what the answer to this question is.
Why
did I ask you?
I am the only person in the US who exclusively does sets that are all based off of different animals.
What are you freaking talking about?
So I've done zebra sets, I've done cheetah sets, I've done elephant sets, and I exclusively work in colored lashes, only M curl. And because of that, I there's no one for me to compare my sets to, because who else out here is doing a zebra set? mixing white and black stripes in their lashes? Nobody.
You'd
So
be surprised
how would I
many
compare to
clients
anybody?
want it.
Oh, I have a line out the door every day. I don't take appointments. I am exclusively walk-ins, but I have a line out the door every day.
I am exclusively walk-ins.
I am walk-ins only.
Who you know doing walk-in appointments?
That's the other reason that
exclusively?
I never compare myself to others is because I do walk-ins only, and no one else out here, as I'm innovative. No one else is doing walk-ins
Guys,
only.
where's the button to turn off someone else's mic? I only have mine. No, I'm kidding. You're so funny.
Why would you ask me?
I just like saying the question and having you answer.
Okay,
I like
well-
acting like I'm interviewing you.
Well, there's my answer.
I like acting like I'm interviewing you.
You are.
Yeah. Okay, my real answer to this, not that Elliot's wasn't valid.
It was
real.
very real.
Yeah.
Come get a octopus set tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll give you 8 lashes.
I'll give you 8 lashes.
4 on the top, 4 on the
4
bottom.
on the top, 4 on the bottom, and they will all be pink
And wiggly.
and wiggly. And I'll put little decals at the end that look like suckers. And they're all gonna be 45 millimeters long.
Guys, we're lashing in 2023, but Elliot's lashing in 2045.
That is so true.
In-
Watch. 20 years from now, everyone's gonna be doing
Elliot's
that.
lashing in 3023, baby.
I took a trip to the year 3000, and everyone was doing octopus lashes.
Okay. I mean, honestly, and this is just gonna close out this episode, I have gotten where I am by, number one, quitting comparing myself to everyone else. And if that by all means you have to unfollow every single lash artist on Instagram and only follow your clients, then by all means do that. But you can't, this is such a cliche quote, but like, you can't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 50, right? But like, you can't also compare your chapter 50 to someone's chapter 50,000. Like, you have no idea what other people did to get where they are. You only know what you've done to get where you are. Yeah. And so you can obviously be inspired by other people, but that feeling of comparison should only propel you forward. And if it's pulling you back, then focus on yourself and really hone in on your own lane. And focus on, if you're a lash artist, I'm speaking to lash artists listening to this podcast, your clients are your top priority. So whether you see someone like doing better work than you, just like take their training or like book a call with them, figure out like how you can. The thing about the lash industry now is people are so transparent at this point in time of like how they got to where they are. No one is gatekeeping like they were 10 years ago. Use that to your advantage. People that are killing it usually are very, very transparent about how they get there. And obviously, most of the time they've been in the industry for a lot longer, or they know things that you don't, or they've taken trainings you haven't, or they've practiced more than you. And that's perfectly fine. Don't feel insecure. Just use it as drive to like improve your own skill and your own craft. And you can just, woe is me. Like, why does my work suck? Why is my retention bad? Why is my pictures look different? That all takes time. Like, that doesn't just happen. That there's no, people message me all the time. What app do you use for your photos? There's no app. There's
no app. It's called being good.
There's no app. It's just
called skill.
It's just like me look at my pictures. Scroll to the bottom of my Instagram. You'll see how bad my pictures suck.
Girl, she sucked.
There's no magic app. There is just years of, there's just years
she was so bad, you guys.
Me figuring out lighting and photography and marketing, and then I use like 10 apps.
It's reps. You got to get in the reps.
You got to do the reps, baby.
You got to get in the reps.
And so it's like when I post a lash video, first of all, it's just a raw video. But if I post a photo, I minimally edit things that I was able to capture a great photo, and I learned that skill first. And so people just want the answers. They want the easy way, but you have to figure it out. And then one day people are going to come to you and say, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? And you're going to be like,
and then you're going to be on your podcast on your couch, and
then
you're going to say, put in the reps.
And it's just, but that's encouraging. That's not saying like you don't have what it takes. Everyone has what it takes. Yeah. Everyone can make their work better if they focus on their work and not on other people. And also, one last thing that I'd like to end on, and I've been thinking about this hard this week. This has been something that's been just brewing on my mind. Just rubbing my last 2 brain cells together, if I will. But a lot of people, when they see people that are doing better than them, they immediately think that like it was handed to them, or they say negative things about them, or they wish bad on them, or they compare themselves, and that will never, ever, ever, ever serve you. truly having a great mindset in your business that's going to propel you forward is seeing other people doing better than you and genuinely being happy for them. Can you genuinely say, when you see someone that is doing amazing, can you genuinely say that you're happy for them? Can you?
No.
Or are you coming from a place of jealousy? Or are you coming from...
I get so angry.
Yeah, like some people, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, she has this thing. She must have like not worked for it, or she must have, you know, gotten it from this or done it from this, or like it, like they just come up with these scenarios in their head. I see
Of why? Well, because it's thinking that then takes the responsibility off you for it. It makes it so that you don't have to think, oh, maybe they just did something better than I did.
Yeah, it makes you feel insecure.
Yeah, because if you think, oh,
I used to feel that way.
There's all these things that they had that I didn't have.
I used to
is
feel
the
that.
reason
I used
that
to
they're
feel that
better.
way too. Like I used to always.
But it's like maybe they just practiced more.
Maybe they're so much further down the line. Maybe
they just been doing this longer.
That person might have put in so much work that you will never, ever, ever see.
Maybe they used to suck way more than you.
Yeah, maybe you're way further along. Like I have students that I teach, and they're like, "Wow, you make it look so effortless." And I go, "Girl, during my training, I was so much worse than you are even today. Like, imagine where you could be in 8 years." And so, really. I think what I want everyone to take from this podcast, I think, is the number one thing, because this has been like weighing on me, and I'm really aware of it now when I see it happening, is when you see or hear of someone else doing well, you have a choice in your mind to feel negatively about that, and it'll impact your self-esteem in your business, or it could impact you positively and give you motivation to do better, and be happy for that person. And it is such a more mature place of existing when you are genuinely happy for that person, even if everything is going wrong in your own life. If you can say, I'm so happy for them, that's amazing, that's inspiring, that's encouraging, I want to learn from this, like that will propel you forward rather than holding you back. And so if you're constantly feeling, you know, down about yourself because other people are doing well, maybe think, why does other people doing well affect how well I'm doing? You should want everyone to do well. I want everyone in this industry to do well. That's doing it right. I want everyone to do well. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe like a few years ago, I would have felt insecure if I saw someone doing better than I was.
Yeah.
But I had to shift that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not because like most of the people who are doing well, they didn't do anything like crazy different. They just kept trying stuff until
they
worked.
They just stayed consistent, and they found their own identity. And
like, we didn't do anything special. We're just some guys. And then we like found some stuff that worked, and then we kept doing that stuff, and then we did more of it, and we're like, oh, this is working. Like, let's do this.
And we haven't pretended we're anything we're not, and we, you know, stay consistent, and we just want the best for everyone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I pretend I'm a really cool guy on this podcast.
Elliot puts in so much work behind the scenes pretending he's so cool for you guys. And then the camera turns off and
I revert to my natural state. You guys will never know what that's like.
He goes goblin mode.
I go goblin mode. All right. Yeah. I feel it's starting to slip back. We gotta turn off this episode before I go full goblin mode.
Do you have any other thoughts on having a good mindset in your business?
I think I just
think you're so wise. Like, I just love hearing you talk.
That is so not true.
I do think you're very,
I'm
very,
just
very
some
wise.
dude.
No, I think you're very wise. You're not some dude.
It's like that TikTok where it's like, he is not the love of your life. He is literally just some guy. Hit him with your car.
Hit him with your car.
Hit him with your car. Honestly, I think one of the biggest things that helped me over the last like 2-3 years, with really growing the business was thinking in terms of like bigger numbers. Like
oh yeah, that's good.
One of the first things that happened that I think really started like us really growing the business was we had dinner with this guy who was like doing online courses, and they were like doing a really good job with them, and they were like making like a bunch of money every month. Like tons of people were buying them. People were like really happy with them. They were building like a really strong community with them. And I like saw that what they were doing, and I was just like asking them all these questions about it. I'm like, that is so cool. Like, tell me more about this. Like, how'd you guys start doing this? Like where do your sales come from? Like, what does the course look like? And he was like, luckily he was like super happy telling me about it. He was like, oh yeah, totally. Like, I'll tell you all about this. And I was like, wow, I was just like trying to learn like what they were doing. And then I think as soon as I realized that was possible, and that was like something that like people actually were doing, like making hundreds of $1,000s a month selling online courses, I was like, well, I mean, nothing's stopping us from trying to do that. And like, it was really weird. Like just knowing that that was a thing that you can do kind of like gave us permission to start doing it. And I think it also like once we like realized that and started thinking about that, like the smaller opportunities didn't really interest us anymore, because after like once Madison was like, you know, doing well with, she had a full clientele and she was doing like some trainings, then we really, I don't think we consciously like shifted our mindset or anything, but I think we just kind of subconsciously started
totally subconscious.
Yeah, we just started thinking in terms of like bigger numbers for all of the things we were doing. And so whereas we used to be thinking about like, how could we make an extra like $3,000 a month in the business? Like what could we do to add?
And then we started answering those questions with what would provide $3,000 of value to people. We started filling in the gaps.
I mean, that's not where I was going, but that works too.
No, but that's...
Well, no, what I was saying is like where we used to think like, okay, how could we add like $3,000 a month to the business, or how could we like grow the business like 10%? But then like eventually we started thinking, okay, what could we do that would add an extra like $30,000 a month to the business, or what could add an extra $50,000 a month to the business? And it's like
you have different conversations.
Yeah, then those were, because like at the things that you can do to add $1,000 a month or $3,000 a month to your business are entirely different from the things that you could do to add $50,000 a month to your business. And it's not just a matter of like doing more of the thing that adds $3,000 a month, because it's like, it's a fundamentally different scale. But once you think at those different scales, like one of the things that our brains do very well is they like block out unnecessary information. Like our eyes and our ears and all of our senses are taking in just enormous amounts of information every second, but our brain is weeding through it and ignoring 95% of the information that comes in, and it's only focusing on the things that like subconsciously we think are important. And if you're taking your B-reel, cute. And if you think like, I don't care about the $1,000 opportunities anymore, and you're saying I only care about the $10,000 opportunities, that's going to be what your like brain is thinking about and is paying attention to. And it really does take ignoring all the $1,000 opportunities, because there's so many things that we could do that could make like $1,000 here or $1,000 there. But because we ignore all those things, it gives us like the energy in the brain space to think about the things that'll add like $50,000 or $100,000. And granted, like that's, we're not adding $100,000 onto the business every month, but we're thinking about, okay, if we're going to do something, it has to be a big enough opportunity that it'll actually like move that needle. And we're completely ignoring the stuff that won't, you know, that doesn't have the potential to like double or triple or 3x like the business that we're in. And I think that's been really helpful to us, because it's just, there's not enough hours in the day to try and add, like if we were trying to like grow the business by like adding $2,000 to it every month and say we're going to grow 5%, or we're going to grow like 2% every month, that's 20% a year, and what can we do to add 2% to the business every month? I don't think we would be growing it very well, because we'd be thinking about things that would add 2% instead of things that would like multiply it, you know? Mm-hmm. And it may take 6 months or a year or 2 years to do the thing that'll multiply it, but if you think in those longer time horizons and the bigger amounts, then you can make so much more progress than if you're just trying to make like little increments over and over and over again.
Yeah. Which
I think it might be like kind of unpopular advice, because like even in like a lot of the stuff I've read, like the book Atomic Habits, like one of their big things is like doing 1% a day, and I think there's a lot of value in that, is like improving by 1% every day and like improving your stuff. But like one of the things that like in our experience has really helped is like not thinking about what we can do every day to make things a little bit better, but what can we do and what can we work on that's like a big thing that 1 year from now is going to have a huge payoff? And like thinking about things that way, it's been really helpful for us. I don't think that's the only way to like think about it, but I think it's been really helpful. And you know, maybe that's valuable to you. If it's not, like, feel free to ignore that. Like, you can absolutely, if
it's not valuable to you, just tune it out.
Yeah, just tune it out. Just skip the last 10 minutes of this. Just wait for Madison to talk.
You hear a man's voice, they just start.
Yeah, just
I'm kidding.
And then they hear you start talking, they're like,
oh,
woo, turn it back up.
Oh, woo.
But yeah, that's all.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you. So I think that was a valuable episode.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was fun.
I don't talk about mindset much, but I feel like a little bit.
I thought,
good.
We had to throw one of the episodes.
We had to throw one. Well, a lot of people ask me about mindset, and I'm just like, I'm not the mindset guy, but I'll give you a little something, okay? Yeah. Settle down. I'll give you
settle
something.
down. I think this was a good episode. I think like if you're not thinking about things in a healthy and productive way, you're not going to get anything done. Like we like to focus on like the practical business stuff on this podcast because I think that is the stuff that's like day to day is the most important.
And they can get mindset stuff from Pinterest.
Yeah, you can get mindset stuff from Pinterest. Like go watch a few Gary Vee videos.
Sure.
Get some. Imagine all your family's dead.
There was this video.
Okay, there is this video of Gary Vee. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, look it up.
They know who
it's
Gary
so funny.
Vee is.
But there was this video of Gary Vee. Someone asked them, they're like, "Hey Gary, like what motivates you?" And then Gary Vee says, "The thing that motivates me the most is every morning when I'm in my ice cold shower." I don't know if he said ice cold, but I like to imagine that he did. Every day when I'm in my ice cold shower, I imagine that every single member of my family was just shot in the head and dead.
And the person's like, whoa.
And he's like, and that, I come out of the shower and then I think, you know what? They're not dead. And that gives me the most joy out of anything else in my life.
Like, okay, I feel like
bro,
I think.
Like, I get where
I'm like, the concept was fine, but what a weird thing to say.
What a weird execution.
What a weird thing to say out loud, dude.
Like, you should keep that one in here.
Yeah. You know what keeps me motivated? We should talk about what keeps us motivated.
The grind. Just the love of the grind, baby. Just Grindset mindset.
I think you just have to have a purpose that's so much
You have to have
bigger.
a Grindset mindset.
Okay, the end.
I think this was long enough. We're like an hour in.
It was long enough. But I'm just saying, I think you need to be motivated by something a lot deeper than yourself to keep going.
That is true.
And if your only motivation is yourself and you're just like simple human desires, you're always going to feel like you're never doing enough.
Yeah.
If your motivation is so much deeper,
I think it helps that our motivation, I really feel like it's like helping artists. I feel like, I mean,
like, I genuinely deep down.
I feel like a lot of people say that, but I actually feel that way.
I do believe that.
Yeah, no, I do. Because, like, why would we be doing the podcast?
Just for fun.
Like, well, yeah, just for fun, but like...
Guys, I haven't been in the mood to film the podcast for 5 days. We were going to film it 5 days ago. I have felt ugly. I have felt pale.
Every day I've asked Madison, I'm like, podcast today? And she's like, not today. No. But today is the day.
Well, today, I've been running around. I've been doing fills all day. I
didn't think today was going to be the day.
I'm sweaty. My hair is like a mess. Like, I literally...
But we're doing it for you.
Because when I think about it, what's my deeper purpose? I genuinely want to help people. And so do you.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm going to show up for the podcast today.
So that's why we're here.
When I don't feel like it.
Well, love you so much, besties.
We love you guys so much.
Smooches.
Thank you for tagging and thank you for tagging us.
Thank you for liking and tagging and subscribing.
Yeah, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, send Madison nice messages. She loves them.
I send them to Elliot.
They make her so happy.
When people
and then she sends them to me, and then they make me happy.
When people say love the podcast, I send it to Elliot and I say, look,
that's 25% you.
And Elliot says, woo, woo. And that brings me a lot of joy. So I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed week. And we will see you next week on my Lash 2 Brain Cells.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Smooches.